Oscar Spence. I'm a history student with the University of Ulster in Northern Ireland. This interview is part of HIS 360, Applied History, History in the Workplace. James, perhaps you can tell me your journey. Please tell me, how did you get involved and interested in history?
Well, I was always interested in history. When I was very young, the films that would have been on TV would have got me hooked. And then later on in school, I would have been more into reading the books about it to try and get the facts, research a lot about it. This just sort of escalated and has carried on all through my life.
And do you think it's important to research?
It definitely is. You have to research. Otherwise, especially if you were going by films, you're just wasting your time. You must research, read good books, and cross-reference.
Okay, so basically what you're trying to say then, that it's taking this information that you take from the book and you bring it to life, is that correct?
That's correct, yes. That is exactly it.
And can you please tell me, how, James, did you become interested in the American Civil War?
Well, I always had an interest in it, again, and it stems from the films, the old cowboy film type things, you know, John Wayne and so on. Later on then, say about 1998, I found myself working near a library, and I would go in and visit. I joined that library and I found a whole section on the American Civil War, and I just, every chance I got, I was in taking them books out. And again, more research, and that's when I started to cross-reference.
Yeah.
Because different authors would have a different approach. Some might be pro-Union, some might be pro-Confederate, and so on. So this then led me on to a more sort of major research, the type of thing you maybe do at the university.
So, James, you're no stranger to acting. In the past, you've been part of Game of Thrones, I believe.
That's right.
And again, you took part in many historical documentaries. Now, can you please tell me a little about how you became involved in living history and reenactment?
You know, you learn so much from reading books, and people read books and they'll come up with an image in their head of what they're reading. I had to go a step further. I wanted to actually, if I could have, beamed myself back in time, and the only way I can do that is to actually live it.
So, James, in 2003, I believe that you founded the Ulster American Historical Society.
That's right, yes. On the 4th of July, it was a specific date because I had attended a reenactment in the Ulster American Folk Park. It was the American Civil War reenactment.
And James, can you tell me a little about some of the things that you do during your reenactments? What events have you appeared at, and what would you do at a typical event?
Well, the events in Northern Ireland tend to be more displays where we'd have a tent and a table. We put out all the different things, uniforms, from knives and forks and spoons, cooking, right up to the weaponry. We also do weaponry displays, cannon and rifle mainly, and sometimes bayonet drills. For the people, I'm going to explain the way through camp life and how it was hard for the soldier and whatnot as well.
What can reenactment, what can living history bring that reading books cannot?
Living history will literally bring your books to life. where you can, it's like stepping into your TV when you're watching a film and being right in the middle of it, where you can actually come up and touch the cloth. Like if you touch my jacket, it's a fairly unique type of cloth there. It's very rough and coarse. This is a cheaper grade. This is jeans wool, you know, and it's natural colour. This isn't dyed. It's just a mixture of all the cottons and the wool. You're not going to get that from a book. You're not going to get the sights and the smells. You may get a nice illustration, but it's not. It's going to leave you wondering, and it will be lacking a wee bit. You turn up at a living history event, watch how to load and fire a rifle. For instance, you can read in a book, you're expected as a trained soldier to fire 3 shots a minute. You come and watch somebody trying to do that. You know, you'll start to understand, if you're at an event where you're allowed to fire a rifle too, you'll get a gist of it, the smells and whatnot from the rifle and the kick.
So what I'm hearing is that this element of living history, it brings history to life. It allows the public to see, to experience, to touch, to handle maybe some of the artefacts that would have been from the Civil War. And again, we're sitting here in County Tyrone. What has the American Civil War got to do with Ulster? I mean, American history, it's hundreds of miles away. What has it to do with an Irishman like you?
Well, it has plenty to do. The amount of people that left here went over. Also, you've got the whole Celtic tiger sort of ethos. That is, a lot of the sort of superpowers would have seen the Irish warrior, regardless of religion, as being a real commodity. Because we're sort of throwing this, we will do it, we'll keep going, you know.
Yeah.
The Union Army sent over agents to recruit, and that they were successful. They got a lot of people from here, and a lot of them actually came back after the war and are buried in County Tyrone.
Okay.
Also, you've got the Confederates sent agents over, like Captain Capstan, who's buried in Antrim. He was from Antrim and he left and went to Virginia, joined the army in the outbreak of the war. He was an officer, and then he was sent back. He was sent back as a sort of an associate or a second in command to Father Jack Bannon, who was a Catholic priest who had, I think it was St. Louis he was in, and then he came back to stop people from joining the Yankee army.
Okay.
Because they were offered things that was sort of false as well, and he didn't want his fellow countrymen down.
So what I'm hearing then is that, you know, there was an active recruitment drive from possibly both sides, and again, there's lots of Irish who would have left, got on a boat, made their way over to America, got off the boat, put on a uniform and fought in both armies. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. Also, you'll find a man called Peter Tate. Now, he had a factory in Limerick, and he made uniforms for the Confederacy.
James, we're in Ireland. Can you tell us a little bit about Irish regiments? We know about the Irish regiments in the north, but in the south, I mean, was there many Irishmen that fought for the southern cause?
There certainly was, yes. Louisiana was one of the states. Mississippi was another. And you would have got Irish in Tennessee and Georgia. You would have got them further afield in states that weren't belonging to the Confederacy, but they came to fight. Kelly's Irish Brigade being one. So you also had Irish men who weren't in regiments that were solely Irish. Irish tended to band together because we're almost a different breed, you know. We do best with our own. But you would have got Irish then who would have joined, say, the 22nd. And you just have to look down the rosters and you'll see the names that are all familiar of still people that would be around you here.
Well, James, I want to thank you tonight for meeting me and for telling me so much about the Ulster American Historical Society and about living history. If anyone wants to find out more about the Ulster American Historical Society or about living history, there'll be links afterwards at the end of this video. So James, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.